saw someone sitting in my closet, but the lights were off. That was the first thing I said when the police arrived, but the truth is that sentence doesn't even begin to explain what really happened inside my room that night. My name is Michael, and what I am about to tell you is something I have never said out loud to anyone else. Not to my parents, not to my friends, and definitely not to the police officer who kept looking at me like I was losing my mind. But I wasn't. I know what I saw. I know what breathed in the dark. And I know what whispered my name when I was too terrified to move. Before I begin, if you like stories like this, don't forget to hit the subscribe button right now. Trust me, you're going to want to stay here for the next parts of this nightmare. It all began on a Thursday. Justa normal boring Thursday after work. I had just finished cleaning my room, organizing the closet, and tossing out old clothes. I remember shutting the closet door completely, shutting it. I'm OCD about that. If the door is open even a little, I can't sleep. So I turned off the lights, lay in bed, and pulled the blanket up to my chest. Everything was silent for a few seconds, until I heard the faintest, slowest creak. I looked at the closet. My heart almost stopped. The door I had just closed was now slightly open, maybe an inch. I frowned, got up, walked over, and shut it again. Normal people would have ignored it, but I'm not normal. My brain I notice everything, and that's exactly why I was the first to notice that something inside the closet breathed it. Wasn't loud, it wasn't dramatic. It was just one soft, controlled exhale. I froze where I stood. At first, I thought maybe it was the air from the AC vent. But then I realized the AC wasn't even on. Trying to calm myself down, I got back into bed and stared at the ceiling. I convinced myself it was just the house settling, nothing more. People freak themselves out all the time with shadows and sound illusions, right? Wrong. 20 seconds later, creak. I shot upright. The closet door was open again, this time wider maybe. 6 inches. The room was pitch black, and the inside of the closet looked even darker. Like the darkness inside was thicker than the darkness in my room. It didn't feel right. It didn't feel empty. And then I heard the unmistakable sound of fabric shifting, like someone adjusting the way they were sitting. My skin crawled. I whispered to myself, Michael, don't freak out. It's just your imagination. But deep down, I knew my imagination doesn't breathe. I sat on the edge of my bed, my hands shaking so badly I had to press them against my knees just to steady myself. The closet door. It was open again, not wide this time, just enough to show a thin slice of darkness, deep and still, like something inside was holding its breath, waiting for me to look. And stupidly, primera, de Michael, breathe, I muttered to myself, but even my own voice sounded distant, like it wasn't mine anymore. I grabbed my phone, turned on the flashlight, and aimed it toward the closet. The beam trembled violently. The inside looked the same as always: clothes, shelves, boxers. Nothing unusual, nothing terrifying, but Tat, didn't he? Explained the feeling, that heavy, suffocating pressure building in my chest. It felt like someone was standing right behind the door. Listening, I took a slow step forward, then another. Each move felt like I was wading deeper into water, thick, cold, and unnatural. Anyone there? I whispered. The moment the words left my mouth, I regretted them. The air shifted, like the room suddenly exhaled. Primera fros. That's when I heard it. A soft, rhythmic tap. Tap, tap, like fingers brushing against the inside wall of the closet. No pattern, no urgency, just tapping, as if whatever was in there had all the time in the world. Stop it. Stop, I whispered, but the tapping grew louder, slower, closer. The voice inside my mind screamed to run, but my legs felt locked in place. My breathing got shallow, fast, unstable. Then something moved inside the closet. Not a big movement, just enough to shift the clothes on the hangers, like someone was lightly brushing their hand across them. The metal rings clinked softly, one after another, like a whisper sliding across steel. That was it. My survival instinct kicked in. I stepped back fast, nearly tripping over my own feet. I reached the bed, grabbed the lamp, and flicked it on light, flooding the room. And instantly, the tapping stopped. Everything fell silent. Too silent. The closet door remained open, still showing that thin stretch of dark, but now the inside looked wrong. Shadows didn't sit where shadows normally sit. They clung to the corners, thick and heavy, as if they had weight. Shape, intention. I stared at them, trying to convince myself it was just the angle, just my fear playing with my imagination. That's when the silence broke. A breath. Not mine. Not human. Long. Shaky and wet-sounding. It came from the darkness inside the closet. My skin crawled. My mouth went dry. My vision blurred for a second. Whatever was in there was getting closer. And then I heard it. A whisper so low it crawled inside my ear like an insect. Michael. The moment it said my name, I stumbled back and hit the wall behind me. I panicked and scrambled for the bedroom door, but it slammed shut. On its own, the impact shook the whole room. My lamp flickered violently. The shadows on the closet walls twisted, like something inside was stretching. Unfolding, rising. Please stop, I gasped, pounding on the bedroom door. But the house swallowed my voice. There was no echo, no sound bouncing back to me. Just that same heavy breathing from the closet. I pressed my forehead against the door, trembling, praying for it to be over. But then, the breathing got louder. Closer. Almost right behind me. And when I turned around, the closet door was now fully open, all the way. All the way. No darkness left to hide anything. And I realized what was inside wasn't hiding. It was coming out. I froze. I didn't breathe. I didn't blink. The closet was silent again. But the silence felt wrong, like it was holding its breath with me. I kept staring into that darkness, waiting for any movement, any sign that whatever was in there was still watching me. My phone screen dimmed for a second, and my heart nearly jumped out of my chest. I tapped it quickly, trying to keep the light alive. I wasn't going to let the darkness win again. Mark, I whispered to myself. Saying my own name out loud somehow made me feel less alone. But then a voice whispered it back. Mark, so soft, so slow, so close. I felt the air leave my lungs. My legs turned weak instantly, like they had forgotten how to stand. I stumbled back until I hit the edge of my bed. I didn't sit high. Collapsed. The voice came again. You closed the door. Why? My blood ran cold. It wasn't just a whisper. It was a whisper coming from inside my closet, yet somehow spreading around the entire room, like it had crawled across the walls. No. No. No, I muttered, gripping the bedsheet like a lifeline. This isn't happening. But it was, and the silence that followed was even worse. I lifted my phone higher, trying to illuminate the closet better. The doorway glowed faintly, the inside still pitch black, thick, like something was swallowing the light. I swallowed hard. Who's there? I said, even though every part of me regretted the question the second it left my mouth. The darkness shifted. Not visually, but I felt it shift, like gravity had changed direction inside the closet. And then scratch. A long, slow drag of something sharp against wood. My closet door moved. Not opened. Not closed. Just moved. A tiny jerk. A small tremor. Like something inside was dragging its fingers across it. I'm not ashamed to say my eyes filled with tears. I wasn't being dramatic. This wasn't fear anymore, this was terror in its purest form. Every instinct inside me screamed the same thing. Run. But I couldn't make my body obey. Instead, I choked out. I'm calling the police, and that's when my phone screen shut off. Not dimmed, not glitched, turned off completely. Dead. Even though I'd charged it fully before going to bed, my shaking hands hit the power button over and over again. Nothing. Come on. Please, I whispered. Then, from the darkness, they can't help you. I dropped the phone. I didn't scream. I didn't even breathe. My ears started ringing so loudly that for a moment, I thought I had passed out, but I hadn't. Something else was happening. A feeling washed over me like the temperature in the room had fallen 10 degrees instantly. Goosebumps spread across my arms. My breath turned shaky and shallow. The closet. Dazu now lan, it felt alive, hungry, and aware of me. Primera starred at it, unable to look away, when suddenly two eyes appeared in the dark. Not glowing, not bright, just visible, reflecting the small amount of light in the room. Human eyes, but not blinking, not moving. Just there, watching me. My throat tightened so hard it hurt. I couldn't scream, even though every cell in my body wanted to. The eyes lowered, not all at once. Slowly, like the head they belonged to was tilting. Curiously, as if figuring out what I was. Then, the eyes widened, and the voice whispered again, this time clearer, closer, and unmistakably smiling. Come here, Mark. I shook my head violently. No, no, no. Stay away from me. But then, something I'll never forget, something that still haunts me every time I close my eyes. A hand slid out from the closet, long fingers thin, pale, bending wrong, like they had too many joints. It pressed against the floor and started pulling the rest of the body forward. I scrambled back on the bed, hitting the headboard. My pulse was so loud in my ears I couldn't hear my own breathing. Get out, I whispered. Please get out. And then something clicked inside my head. A survival instinct. A spark. I remembered what people say in horror movies. What everyone watching yells at the screen. Run. So I did. I jumped off my bed and sprinted toward the bedroom door. But just as I reached for the handle, a second hand grabbed my ankle. Cold. Strong. Unnaturally strong, I screamed finally. But the sound died when the voice whispered behind me. Don't leave. We're just getting started. My breath was shaking now, so loud I was sure whatever was inside could hear it. I kept staring at the cracked open door, half expecting Mark to suddenly jump out and say it was all some stupid prank. But deep down I knew he wouldn't. Because whatever was in that closet wasn't human enough to joke. I took one step closer, just one, and the air instantly turned colder. It was like the temperature dropped 10 degrees in a heartbeat. My skin prickled, and the shadows inside the closet seemed to pulse like they were breathing with me. I whispered to myself, Okay. Calm down, Alex. It's just darkness. Darkness doesn't move. Darkness doesn't watch you. But then it did, because right as I reached for the door handle, the darkness shifted. A shape leaned forward slow, methodical, knowing. My phone buzzed in my pocket, vibrating violently like someone was calling. It showed the camera, wide open, and the camera was recording me without me touching anything. I stared at the screen, confused, until I realized something horrifying. It was pointed over my shoulder. Something was standing behind me. I whipped around so fast I nearly fell, but no one was there. Nothing. Just the room, silent and dead like it was holding its breath. I swallowed hard. The phone screen flickered, and then the image changed. A frame. A glitch. And suddenly, the screen showed the inside of my closet. It showed the figure crawling toward the door. Hokkaido. No, I whispered, backing away until my shoulders hit the wall. And then I heard it. A long, slow exhale, coming from the closet. I should have left the room. I should have run downstairs, out the door, anywhere. But fear doesn't always make you logical. Sometimes it traps you, pins your feet to the floor, and forces you to watch your own nightmare unfold. The closet door creaked again. This time, it didn't open wider. Softly. Wanted me to wonder. Unknown device connected. Transferring one file. My heart dropped. A second later, the transfer completed, and a new recording appeared in my gallery. The thumbnail image. Pitch black, except for one thing. A hen, resting on the floor, fingers pointing outward, like it was reaching for me. I didn't open it. I couldn't. I dropped the phone on the bed and backed up toward the door. My heartbeat was pounding in my ears now, but over it, I swear he heard something else. My name, whispered, drawn out. Alex. Coming from inside the closet, I slammed my back against the bedroom door, fumbled for the handle, and yanked it open. But the moment I stepped into the hallway, all the lights in the house turned off. Every single one. Darkness swallowed everything, and when my eyes finally adjusted, I saw something at the far end of the hallway. Non-moving. Just standing. The same silhouette. The same shape from the closet. Except now it wasn't confined anymore. It was out. Free. And it knew my name. I froze. The closet door, the same one I had shoved shut just minutes earlier, was now slowly drifting open again. No hands, no footsteps, no sound. Just the soft creak of the hinges. As the gap widened on its own, I could feel my pulse hammering behind my eyes. My breath came in tight, shaky gasps. And for the first time in my life, I genuinely felt like I wasn't alone in my own bedroom. Don't, I whispered, even though I wasn't sure who I was talking to. Or what. The gap grew wider and wider, until the darkness inside the closet looked like the entrance to somewhere I was never meant to see. And then something moved. A shift. Just a shift, but enough to snap every nerve in my body. Jake, I whispered to myself, trying to regain control. You're losing it. You're tired. You're imagining things. A breath. A real, human breath. Deep, slow, and right at the edge of the closet door. I stumbled backward until I hit the wall behind me. Then a whisper so close it felt like it brushed the side of my neck. Slid through the dark. Keep the lights off. My stomach dropped. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't think. I reacted purely on instinct. I lunged for the lamp on my nightstand, my fingers trembling so violently I almost knocked it over. The moment I touched the switch, the breath from inside the closet quickened fast, ragged, animal-like, almost panicked. Then, before I could turn the light on my phone, buzzed in my pocket. A text message. From an unknown number. I pulled it out with shaking hands. "Don't turn on the lights, Jake." The phone slipped from my grip and hit the floor. Someone or something was texting me. From inside my house. Maybe from the closet. Maybe? Before I could finish the thought, the closet door slammed shut. Bang! The noise hit me so hard I nearly dropped to my knees. The slam wasn't human. It was too violent. Too forceful, as if the door had been yanked by someone with strength far beyond normal. I sucked in a breath and slowly moved toward the door, not to open it, but to make sure it stayed closed. But the closer I got, the more I noticed something horrifying. The door was rattling, like something on the other side was gripping the handle and trying to turn it. Very slowly, that soft clicking sound, metal against metal, grew louder in the silence of my room. Click, 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 click. My voice shook as I whispered to no one. "What do you want from me?" The rattling stopped. Dead silence. Then, from inside the closet, a soft laugh, a whispery, broken laugh that didn't sound human or sane. It crawled straight through my bones. For a second, I couldn't even move. My legs felt like they weren't mine anymore. All I could do was stand there, frozen, listening to that awful sound fade back into breathing. I knew I should run. I should have run, but fear glued me to the floor. And then my phone buzzed again. Another message. With shaking hands, I picked it up from the ground. "I'm getting tired of waiting." I swallowed hard, my throat scraping like sandpaper. My voice cracked when I spoke. "Please, leave me alone." A final reply came instantly, then opened the door. My knees buckled. No. 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 Whatever was in there. Whatever was pretending to speak to me. The whisper seeped from the closet again, this time using my name in that same distorted, too-close voice. "Open the door, or I'll come out anyway." I stumbled back until I hit the corner of my room. That's when I remembered. I still had my camera recording on the dresser. I turned toward it, desperate, breathless. If I don't make it out of this," I whispered hoarsely. "Please, whoever finds this, just..." No, I didn't imagine it. "There's something in here with me." Then, forcing my voice louder, even though it cracked. "And if you're listening to this, subscribe to the channel so more people know what's happening. Someone needs to see this. Someone needs to understand." Suddenly, THUD, a massive hit slammed against the inside of the closet door. Dust fell from the frame. The floor shook beneath my feet. Thud. 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 With each impact, the door bowed outward like it was about to explode open. My heart felt like it was being squeezed inside my chest. I braced myself for whatever was coming when suddenly everything stopped. No breathing, no rattling, no slamming. Just silence. The kind of silence that feels wrong. Unnatural. Like the moment right before a scream. I didn't dare take my eyes off the door. My mind raced with one single question. What happens if it finally gets out? I ran not away from the house, not toward the door, but toward the closet, because something inside me whispered the most terrifying thought I've ever had. If you don't look now, it'll follow you forever. I don't know if it was courage or pure insanity, but I grabbed the door handle with both hands. It was ice, like I was touching something that wasn't supposed to exist in this world. I pulled it open. The smell hit me first. Old wood, dust, and something else. Something damp. Something like breath. I raised my phone, the flashlight shaking so much that the beam of light danced across the walls. And then I finally saw it clearly. Not a shadow, not a figure, not some shape in the dark. A face, but not human. It was too smooth, like skin stretched over a skull. Eyes too big to reflective, like they absorbed the light instead of reflecting it. A mouth that wasn't shaped right, too wide, almost carved into its skin, and it was sitting exactly the same way I first saw it. Knees pulled up, head tilted slightly, watching me like it had been waiting centuries for that moment. My voice cracked. "WH, what do you want?" The thing didn't speak. It just smiled. That wrong, impossible smile, and then with a movement faster than anything I've ever seen, it lifted its hand, not to grab me, not to attack me, but to point. Directly. Behind me, my entire body locked up. I didn't want to turn around. Every instinct begged me not to. But I did. And that's when I realized the face in the closet wasn't the only one. There was another one behind me. So close, I felt its breath brush the back of my neck. I dropped my phone. The flashlight spun wildly, the beam slicing across the room. Both faces, the one in the closet and the one inches behind me, disappeared from view as the phone hit the floor. The room went completely dark. And then the whisper came again, right next to my ear. "Close the door. I'm not done with you." The closet door slammed shut on its own, hard enough to shake the whole room. I screamed. I stumbled backward, tripped over the bed frame, and crashed onto the floor. My hand finally found the door handle of the bedroom, and I ran. I didn't look back. If I did, I was afraid I'd see them following behind me on all fours. I bolted out of the house, down the driveway, into the cold night air. And when I finally stopped running, every single light in my house turned on at once. Through the window, from outside, I saw something. The closet door was wide open again. Empty. Completely empty. So why do I still hear it? Why do I still feel it watching me? Why does every reflection behind me look too crowded? I moved houses, states. I changed everything. New locks, new alarms, new life. But every night, around 3 a.m., my new closet door creaks open. Hustalittlery, like something is checking if I'm awake. And last night, last night, I heard a voice whisper, "Found you." If you want to hear what happened after that, what I saw next, and what the creature did when I finally confronted it, make sure you subscribe to the channel, because the next part is coming soon. And trust me, you don't want to miss it.